I want to show you something that I find fascinating. These are ancient homes in Colorado, built in the sides of massive cliffs. If you lived in one of these homes, you were practically guarded from everything. The elements, from predators, from intruders. You were living in a safe haven in the side of a cliff. Yet the people that built these ended up leaving them totally abandoned in just one generation. And I want to know why. This is Mesa Verde, a region in Colorado that was built by people called the ancestral Puebloans. The region gets its name from Spanish roots, Mesa meaning table and Verde meaning green. And for a long, long time, the Pueblo people lived at the mesa tops, where they resided in these pit houses that were essentially just dug into the ground and covered with brush or mud. And that might sound a bit primitive, but these people were far from that. They were even excellent farmers, using the mesa tops to farm what is called the three sisters of crops: corn, beans, and squash. And outside of anything they might have hunted, this was their primary food source. They lived in these pit homes for a long, long time, but somewhere around the year 1200, they began constructing these palaces in the cliff sides. This is kind of where things start to get interesting. These were built out of sand and mud bricks with logs for framing. This was not just a simple primitive people. These cliff dwellings offered so many advantages. For one, if they farmed on the mesa tops, moving into the cliffs gives them more room for farmland, thus meaning more food for everybody. These dwellings also offered a bit of climate control, as the ones built facing south would catch more sunlight in the winter and be warmer, and less sunlight in the summer and be cooler. But the most obvious reason for building in these cliff sides was for protection. Okay, these cliff dwellings were like elaborate cities, some hosting hundreds of people while others just housing 2 to 3 families. If you were gonna invade one of these, you only had one way in: a rope ladder. And good luck, because after everyone had been accounted for, this rope ladder could just be removed at the end of the day. And then if somehow you scale down the cliffside and make it to the entrance of one of these, you have to crawl through a tiny, narrow, single-person entryway. It's like a crawl space.
Your backpack. Is there a...
You ready? If you brought an army to invade, you were just getting in one at a time. It was basically impossible. If you guys are enjoying this content, consider subscribing and dropping a like down below. That helps us out a ton. I'm not gonna hold you long. Drop a like down below, like down there. But none of that is even the coolest part to me. To understand that, we have to go back, like way, way back, before the ancestral Puebloans even existed. A time where North America looked like this. About 100 to 66 million years ago, North America had an ocean cutting through it, dividing it into 2 islands, connecting the Arctic Ocean all the way down to the Caribbean. This was known as the Western Interior Seaway, and Colorado was totally submerged under this. And if you've ever been to the beach, what's the one thing that's at the bottom of the ocean? Sand. Lots and lots of sand. So once the land was uplifted during the formation of the Rockies, there was a layer of thick sand that had millions of years to compact into sandstone, which is excellent at filtering water. Any rain that hit the mesa top would collect down underneath these alcoves. So when the Pueblo people built in the outcrops of these rocks, they essentially cut out any rainwater collection because it was gonna filter through the sandstone and pool up in places all around these cliff sides. All of this seemed like the perfect combination for a flourishing society. But at some point, something went wrong. These elaborate cities built in these cliffs were abandoned after just 80 years. Scientists say that the main reason that these cities were left behind was due to a massive drought that lasted well over 20 years. These people were farmers first, so a drought lasting that long would have been absolutely devastating. Food would have been incredibly hard to grow, water would become scarce, and any wildlife that they set out to hunt would probably have already left in search of their own food source. Trickle-down effects from this would likely be societal tensions as people are now fighting over limited food and resources. Wait. I know what you're thinking. How could scientists know that there was a drought that lasted that long when that was like hundreds of years ago? Well, the answer lies in trees. Specifically, these trees. Trees need water to grow, and when they have an ample amount of water, the rings are actually spaced out further because of exponential growth. However, when trees don't get enough water, the rings on the tree are closer and closer together. So after they figured out how old these trees were with carbon dating, they were actually able to see that the trees had a ton of rings in very close proximity, signifying a lack of rainfall for about 20 to 22 years. So as the climate changed, the ancestral Puebloans had to decide what to do next, and obviously they left. A lot of them migrated to different places, some to Arizona, some to New Mexico, a place where food would be more abundant, water would be a little bit easier to find, and everyone could live more stable lives. What they left behind are these beautiful pieces of architecture that have stood the test of time. I mean, you can go and tour some of these. My wife and I did on our massive road trip last year. And when we left Mesa Verde, we were incredibly impressed by the craftsmanship and the culture. But ultimately, it left me realizing that no matter how much you prepare, you can only survive if you're adaptable. All of that, and the fact that Mother Nature will always win.
We are going on a tour of the balcony house in Mesa Verde.
You ready?
Yeah.
Got it.
Awesome. And then we get to go through this. Watch my bag.
That's right, just lean forward and straight up. Nice job, nice job. Got it, nice job.
High five. Oh, that was awesome. You really crawled through something tiny. Yeah.
You know the droppings.
They made windows up there. That's so cool. Look at the little fire pit. The fire's going out. Oh wow. Whoa. Okay. So they would cook back here. That's awesome. They use metal ladders.
Your backpack's in.
You ready?
How do you get out of here?
All right.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're back. You did it.